Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session on enterprise stock in Katoomba. I'm Praneel and I'll be your host for today. So this session is going to be broken down into two parts. The first being a quite quick overview of how stock is managed in Katoomba at branch level, and the second and main demonstration will cover the basics of managing enterprise stock in Katoomba 1, as well as a little advanced session towards the end. Now, this is an interactive session, so I welcome all questions, both during or after today's webinar. Now, in your control panel, you'll see a little icon like this. This just indicates that you've got your hand up and may have a question, so you can use that. Or otherwise, there's this chat pane here in which you can enter any questions you may have, and I'll be keeping an eye on that as we go through today's presentation. Great. So when referring to stock or products, of course we're referring to the physical items you either sell to your clients, for example shampoos, and as well as any disposable items you may use to run your business, such as colours. So as you know, Katoomba already keeps track of every item you sell to your customers. However, if you wish to control ordering and reporting of your stock, you need to set up a few things so that Katoomba can keep an accurate track of your stock. There are 5 key areas around working with stock in any business. These include stock taking, setting min and maximum levels, ordering stock, checking in stock or receiving it, checking out stock for internal use, which covers any, say, professional items that you may use. These are the sorts of things that happen in your business or the day-to-day tasks or processes that your staff perform. Now, stock taking and making adjustments is performed locally or at the branch. It can be done by category rather than stock taking your entire inventory all in one go. For example, doing one category per week is faster and more manageable way of stock taking. This requires stock to be set up correctly in Katoomba 1 under correct product categories. To make changes to the numbers on hand, you can easily create a stock adjustment. This can be done from the Working with Products tab in Katoomba, in the Cards tab, and selecting Stock Take category and enter results as an adjustment. Or by creating a one-off adjustment from the Working with Suppliers tab. Your min and maximum levels are used when you create an automatic order in Katoomba. The order will look at these levels and compare them with what Katoomba currently believes you to have in your stock. Whether you're bringing your levels up to the minimum or up to the maximum, Katoomba will work out exactly how many of each item you need to order. These can be set locally in Katoomba against each product, or can be edited in Katoomba 1. Now that you know what you have on hand, you will then need to know how much you need to order. When you create an order automatically and select to bring either to your min and max levels or just to order the amount sold or used since a particular date, Katoomba will automatically generate the order. Once you have made orders, it is important that they are checked in. If you haven't created an order in Katoomba before the order arrives, you can easily create a supplier invoice and manually enter or scan the items that have arrived. Finally, you will need to tell Katoomba when you have used products internally, so that your stock and hand levels can be adjusted. To do this, you would use the Checkout for Internal Use button in Katoomba. This way you can easily scan or enter the items that you have used, as well as the quantities that you have used before committing this. This will automatically update the stock on hand for these internal products. Now that we've covered the basics of stock in Katoomba, let's talk about how to really manage your stock in Katoomba 1. Why use Katoomba 1 to manage your enterprise stock? Well, it allows you to track product sales across your entire group so you can gain greater insight into how your stock is performing. This will of course assist you in reviewing and improving the performance of your stock. It also creates efficiencies in time and money with having centralized control, and by being just set it up centrally, you can also deliver a consistent brand experience or make tailor-made changes for specific locations. What we're going to cover today is how to add stock into Katoomba 1, how to edit stock and make changes, have a look at some of the stock reporting available, including the stock performance view. We'll then have a quick discussion about keeping the stock list up to date and why it's important, and finish up with a wee introduction to editing or editing stock using Excel, which is very useful if you're making a lot of changes at once. Okay. Alright, first we're going to have a look at adding stock in Katoomba 1. This can be done by adding an individual item or importing a product list via Excel, which we'll cover later. First, I'm just going to navigate to the Products tab in Katoomba 1. Adding an individual product is useful for adding a one-off or maybe just a small number of new products. To do this, we'll select the Add Products button and then add one product. Here you can enter the product details like the cost and retail price, including giving it a name. You can select whether it's a retail or professional product. You can add it to one of your existing categories using the drop-down menu. You can select a supplier using the drop-down menu, and if it's a totally new product or range that you haven't kept before, you can of course create a new category or new supplier from the category and supplier tabs in Katoomba 1 products respectively. Once you have entered these details, including min and max levels if you wish to set them, you can then set the availability or where this product is going to be available for purchase. You can see that you don't necessarily have to have the product available at all sites, and you can also have specific min and max levels or a pricing for a specific site if it's to be more expensive or cheaper for whatever reason. Once you've made your changes, you can select Save, and the product will be added to your centralized list and will sync down to each of the sites you've set it to be available at. Only Katoomba 1 users with full stock access will be able to add and upload products. Users with branch access will not. However, they will be able to manage their minimum and maximum levels. Adding and selecting the correct suppliers and categories is very important, as this will be reflected in your reporting when it comes to grouping by category or grouping by supplier. It also makes searching for products easier. As I mentioned, you can create new categories from the Category tab, as well as creating new suppliers. We're now going to have a little look at editing stock in Katoomba. There are a few reasons why you may wish to edit stock. These may include updating product details like pricing, supplier codes and barcodes, or ordering details like min and max levels or order lots. Changing in availability is another editable option for instances when a branch is now going to stock a range that it previously didn't. Like adding products, you can edit products individually or there is the option of editing multiple products at the same time. This can be achieved by either filtering the product list and selecting multiple items to edit, or by exporting a filtered list and making changes in Excel to re-import later. We'll cover this towards the end of today's webinar. To start with, we'll look at how to edit an individual item. Editing individual items would be used to make little changes off the cuff by selecting the Edit Product icon to the left of each product entry. From here, you can edit all product details. For example, you can edit the name, any cost details, updating supplier codes or barcodes. For instance, if the barcode for a particular item has changed, you may wish to edit the main barcode and copy the old barcode into the barcode 2 column. What this will mean is that whether or not your staff have new stock with new barcodes or still have some older stock on shelves with the original barcodes, they will both scan correctly if using a barcode scanner at point of sale. Once you've made any changes you wish to make, you'd simply select Save in the bottom right left-hand corner. You can also make quick edits to these products directly from the product list by double-clicking. Here you can update the name, pricing details, or supplier details. You can also use the search function or filter to find a particular product. We'll go over the filter in more detail now. The product filter in Katoomba 1 makes editing products by range or category in one go easy. You can filter the list based on a range of criteria. For example, we can filter based on name, barcode, the type of product, whether it's retail and professional, price or margins, availability, supplier or supplier codes, categories. Using this, you can use multiple filters to really get your list to focus on what you want to look at. For example, we may wish to look at particular products from one of our ranges, but also we may only be interested in retail products as opposed to professional products as well. Once we select our filter, we just need to apply it and it will automatically filter down our list based on products that meet the criteria we used in the filter. We can easily go back to it to edit it, or we can clear it if we want to start fresh with a new filter. The main filter types that are generally used are type, category, and supplier, as this enables you to filter your list to a specific product range or supplier. The last modified filter is very useful as it's able to check changes as you'll be able to check any products that you have recently changed. For example, you can enter a date. If you knew what date you changed or made edits to products, you can easily bring those products up. Especially useful if you're trying to double check whether there's been a manual mistake or just review what changes you've made today. Once you have filtered your list, you can then select which items you wish to edit. You can either edit items individually, as we demonstrated earlier, or you can use the Edit Multiple Product function. This is controlled by using the checkboxes to the left-hand side. For example, I can opt to select all these products or a few of them. Once I have them selected, using the Edit drop-down, I can edit the category that these products sit within, the availability, or the min and max stock levels. All other changes will need to be made either manually against the product itself or by downloading the list and re-importing using editing in Excel, which we'll, as I mentioned, we'll cover later. Now we're going to have a quick look at some of the reporting in Katoomba 1. There are two reports that provide information on your stock. These are the stock value report and the product sales report. Both reports offer you a review of your stock across all branches of your enterprise, or the ability to look at a particular branch. Like most reports, you can change the GST preference to be inclusive or exclusive. To start with, we'll have a look at the stock value report. The stock value report shows you the total stock on hand value. In other words, it shows you what is on your shelf and the value of that stock. It gives the stock on hand as both a number and then a value, the product costs, and expected sales margin. The report options allow you to change how the information is presented. In this case, we are looking at it grouped by supplier. We could look at it grouped by category and opt to look at one particular location, or looking at all our sites across the group at once. As you can see here, it will also indicate what type of product it is, whether it's a professional or retail product. It is important to note that this report will not include any stock with a quantity of 0 on hand. The next report we'll look at is the product sales report. This report shows you what is happening with your stock sales across your group. Along with giving the number and dollar value of sales for a date range, it could also provide important insight into the value of discounts for products as well as the average actual sale price. These margins in the report take into account the actual average sale price. This would highlight cases where your margins aren't as healthy as you'd expect them to be due to the items often being discounted at point of sale. For example, we can see for this particular conditioner here, the margin is less than what we would expect it to be. It can also highlight cases where sales from a particular category or supplier are more often discounted as others. Again, we can change how this is grouped by supplier or category and opt to focus on one particular branch or look at stock across all your branches in one go. There are two ordering-based reports in Katoomba 1. The supplier invoices report, which is one of our newest reports, and the supplier orders report. The supplier invoices report shows you how much you're spending with suppliers across all your sites based on supplier invoice committed in Katoomba. This is given as a total, as well as broken down to specific suppliers or locations. You can see the dollar value of individual invoices and also the associated invoice numbers. You can also get an idea of how many units were included in each order. One of our newest reports, the supplier ordering report, presents information in much the same way. In essence, it gives you an overview in real time of what your salons have spent and committed to spend with suppliers. It shows you how much you have spent on your orders with each supplier within date range. You can also go further into each order to see exactly what was ordered, as well as how much you've committed to spend on these pending orders. Back in the Products tab, the Products Performance view is a useful tool that can be launched from the product list by selecting the graphed icon next to a particular product. It gives a snapshot of a product including price and margin info, and also current stock levels across your entire site. This makes it a great tool for a branch to use if a client is looking for a particular item that is currently out of stock in the branch they're visiting. Using this, staff will easily be able to see if that particular stock item is available at another branch. Next, we will briefly discuss the importance of keeping the stock list up to date. Although there are many reasons, and some very simple ones like making sure the correct pricing is entered for point of sale, there are many other reasons why it's important to keep a stock list up to date. If your branches use barcode scanners at point of sale, it is of course important to ensure the barcodes are up to date. Having the correct supplier codes also makes making orders within Katoomba much easier, as the information that your suppliers need is easily presented. It is also important to remove any discontinued stock so branches don't keep entering them into orders. Also, by keeping your list up to date, it means that your reporting will keep accurate, especially when it comes to things like stock value, if you've got the correct cost pricing entered, as well as having everything under correct suppliers and categories. Ultimately, it comes down to making sure that A, stock works at the branches when it comes to staff searching for, selling, stock taking and ordering, and B, making sure your reporting is accurate when reviewing your stock across your chain. Managing discontinued stock is also important, as at the branch end you don't want branches entering orders for discontinued stock. Simply deleting the item from Katoomba 1 will take care of this, as the stock item will become deactivated locally at the products that previously stocked it. If there was still stock on hand, it will still be searchable at point of sale and will still show on stock reports until there is no stock left, either when the remainder is sold or a stock adjustment is made to zero it out. The delete function can be used on individual items, as I demonstrated, or by selecting a range of products or using the client filter to deactivate a group of products at the same time. This could be useful if you're deleting a discontinued subcategory, for example. Finally, we're going to have an overview of some quick ways to update multiple products at once if you're confident with using Excel. Importing a product list will be used when adding a new range to the enterprise or for editing multiple products in one go. To do so, you will need Microsoft Excel so you can edit and save files in the .csv format. When selecting Import to Product List from the Add Product section, you can download a sample file which has the correct formatting to use when adding new products. Here is an example of what the sample file looks like. It has all the correct headings that you need, as well as some examples to get you started. As you can see here, you'll need to delete everything below line 2 and also change your barcode and format columns to number to ensure they save correctly. You'll need to do this whenever you're using .csv files that include barcodes. For example, I would highlight these items here, use right click to delete them all, and these two barcode columns, select both of them, and in the format box here, set them to be number. This is really important, and we'll demonstrate where this becomes apparent very shortly. Here you can enter multiple products one by one, including their barcodes, pricing details, and what suppliers they need to sit under, as well as entering what categories. You'll see here a number of categories. Not all of these columns need to be populated. Essentially, this just represents what the main category would be and whether or not these new products sit within a subcategory. For example, whether there's a sub-range for your main category. Once you've made all your changes, you would simply save the file. Once the file is saved, you can go back to the Add Products option. Again, select Import a Product List and browse for your file to upload. When doing this, Katoomba will automatically check your formatting and alert you if there's any mistakes that you need to correct. Now, you can also use a similar process to make updates to multiple products all at once. This could include changes in barcodes, pricing, especially price increases across the range. This is the main case, and a very easy way to do this, instead of editing each product one by one, is to download and edit a filtered list. You can do this by either downloading your complete product list or using the client filter to narrow your list down first. For example, I might filter my list based on category, go into a subcategory, and even deeper still to a particular range. In this case, I'm selecting Redken Color Blonde Idol. By selecting the checkbox, selecting Close, and then Apply Filter, I then have a filtered list of all the products that fit within that category. Then, from the download button, I now have an added option to download the current filtered list, which I'll do now. Once this is downloaded, I can open it in Excel. As I mentioned earlier, it was very important that whenever you're making edits to a .csv file, that we change the format of these barcode columns back to number. As you can see, this doesn't make any sense currently. If we were to re-import the list without making this change, all the products would have the same barcode, which of course is not something we want. Again, I'll simply highlight both columns and change the column format to number, and I may need to bump back the decimal places using the decimal place buttons here under the number tab. It is important when using Excel to make changes that we don't delete any of the existing columns or things that are populated within these columns. Although these things may not make sense and may look like they're important, it's important that we leave them intact if we wish to update our products correctly. Making changes to some of these things at the back would result in duplicates being added instead of just updating what products we already have. Once here, I can easily make any changes to my barcodes, product names, supplier details or supplier codes, and of course to price. For example, if there has been a price increase for each of these products, I could simply update these prices by entering the changes directly into the spreadsheet. After I've made all the changes I wish to make, I can simply select Save. Once this is done and I've made the changes I wish to make, I can easily re-import this list by selecting the Add Products and Import a Product List and browse to find the list that I've just edited. Once I select it and opt to upload it, it will always come up with a quick preview of each of the products. Here I can see that my changes are included. It will only show the first 10 as a bit of a preview. If once I'm happy with this, I can select the Looks Good Upload button. It will then process the changes that I've made and then present you with a summary of your changes. Here we can see that I've updated 12 products. If I was adding a new product list with new categories and suppliers, it would indicate that I've added however many number of new products and how many categories and suppliers I've also created. If I was to close this list, I can then see for the products that are edited that my price change has updated for all these products. This change will now sync down to each of my branches, updating their local price lists as well. Right. So that concludes today's webinar on managing enterprise stock. Again, we had a quick overview of the 5 key areas of working with stock in Katoomba: stock taking, adjusting min and maximum levels, ordering stock and checking it in, and also checking out stock for internal use. We then went to focus on working with enterprise stock in Katoomba 1. So adding and editing stock, keeping it up to date, the stock performance view, and also some extra steps on using Excel to manage your product list. So thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you found it beneficial. I will be sticking around, so if you do have any questions, please feel free to enter them into the chat field. And there was a handout attached as well, which should be accessible, just with a few links to some of our mini guides on each of the sections that we discussed today. So again, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to having you join us for our next webinar for Enterprise. Thank you.